Initially, I was going to do another video today, but I wanted to touch on something that I heard last week. There was a gentleman, the family and I know, and his son is in the same grade as both of my boys. One is in the sixth grade and one is going to the seventh. And he mentioned to us that his son was holding him back. Now, I did take that a certain way because being a father as myself, it's hard because I could never see myself coming home and not being around my boys, my oldest son or my two little boys, because I know they didn't have a choice in the matter for being here on this planet. It was a decision made that was outside of their volition. And if you look at, especially in our community, a lot of men and women, they're void of certain things that they should have been taught when they was younger because both parents are not actively involved in their lives. It's funny because if you look at how God created us, a woman contributes 23 chromosomes and a man contributes 23 chromosomes. God could have set it up any other way, but he made sure that we both played an equal part, not competing with one another, but to complete the process of life. That was the blueprint. It takes a moment just to bring forth life, but it takes a long time afterwards to shape that life, to direct that life the path it needs to go. And it's not fair to a kid who never had the opportunity to say, I want that person as my mother. I want that person as my father. I get it. I was there. A lot of times when we see somebody we're attractive to, unfortunately, I know it's selfish, but it wasn't done with the intention that you want to really build a relationship. You was just trying to feed a desire. But because of that, sometimes a kid comes about it. And both parties are not ready, maturity wise, spiritually, financially, or whatever else that's required to raise a family. Both is not ready. You didn't really see yourself with that person like that have a long future. But yet, a kid is born. Sometimes both parents don't stay together. And you put all that burden on one person to make it happen. But God never designed it that way. He wanted both parents to be there, actively involved in that kid's development. Now, men, you have to understand something. The success of a family solely rests on our shoulders. Because when you look at Genesis chapter 3, when Adam and Eve disobeyed God, when God came and was walking through the garden, if you notice in the chapter, who did he call to? He called for Adam. He didn't call for Eve. He asked Adam, where art thou? God made us first, and it was for a reason. So if you go out there and don't do your due diligence, when you choosing somebody to be with, you got to blame yourself on that one. Because that young lady at no point in time forced you to come to her. That's why we need strong parents behind us when they're raising us up. Because if they're not building that moral compass for you to use so you can navigate through situations in life, you're going to always find yourself in a situation. I love when Dr. Peterson said, a community that lacks a moral center will fracture. And he's right. Last summer, we in the park, my wife and I with the boys playing soccer. It didn't really hit me then until over the weekend when the gentleman made that statement. The kid had to be around 14, 15. He was with three boys. And they all made the comment to us. So it was like, wow, we never see a mother and father in the park playing with their kids together. I didn't really think of it back then. I kind of just let it brush off. But for a child that age to have the awareness that something is wrong and they know by seeing it how it's supposed to be, that just says a lot. We're sending a lot of our young men and women out into the world to be successful, but emotionally and in terms of upholding the traditions of a family, they are incompetent because they didn't have competent teachers. You cannot expect the blind to lead the blind. You cannot expect a lot of these young men, yes, they'll go on, do well in college, go to the league, make a lot of money, become alpha men and alpha women. Okay, great. That's in earning potential and lifestyle. But in terms of being competent to manage a home, I'm sorry. I don't care how much money you have. I mean, you can see it in society today. All these individuals with the ability to make a lot of money, but how many of them can successfully manage a family? Unfortunately, the check that you write can't fix that problem. The lack of upbringing that you did not receive can't fix that problem. I don't care how beautiful you are. I don't care how handsome a young man looked to a young lady. If this individual was not raised according to the blueprint, according to the standard, then you're just wasting your time. One of my classmates used to say this line, and I thought it was the funniest thing ever. Every time a guy used to introduce a girl to us, he was just like, oh, this is your future ex. Such a profound statement. But he was right. Yeah, she's yours today, but she's going to be somebody else tomorrow. Yeah, he's yours today, but he's going to be somebody else tomorrow. We're not built to last. We're not built to sustain. We're just built for a short term to achieve whatever objective or whatever we want out of that other person, and that's it. And God forbid if a kid comes around. When children are born, that shows your biggest weakness. If you don't have control over your emotions, if you have whatever deficiencies in your life, it's going to show. The first thing you want to do is run. You know why? Because your dad ran on you. I get it. It is hard. But we wasn't put here to run. We have to get in the soil with our kids and show them how our roots grow. Because if you're not going to do it, then you're expecting somebody else to take your position or fill your position to do it. What sense does that make? If we're not going to accept the example, then who are they going to follow? We can't keep on blaming social media where our kids are looking at this content and it's having a greater influence on their life juxtaposed to what you and your wife have on their life. And a lot of times, because of the separation, it's a bitterness between the couples. One poisoning the other one towards the father being poisoned towards whatever the case may be. If it's not rooted in love, please, y'all need to stop dealing with people that was not raised a certain way. I don't care how tall this person is. I don't care how much money they have. I don't care how beautiful she is. It is going to end in a train wreck. How many relationships do you guys got to go through before y'all realize this is not the way? It's not. Our culture, for whatever reason, have shifted. There has been a complete paradigm shift away from the way God wanted to what we see today. And then we justify it. Well, whatever, let him cheat and do whatever he wants. But look what I'm getting out of it. I'm getting flown out here. I'm getting bags. We justify it by material things, which is insanity. Because those same bags and stuff that you like, eventually, guess what's going to happen? Them same shoes and that expensive purse, so guess what's going to happen? You're going to wind up throwing it away. You're not going to care for it anyway. All those things that you all hyped about, the brand new car, the house, all those things decayed. But the things that are meaningful, that love that you show the child, that guidance that you show them, those things will never die out. But we don't think on those things. We are too self-centered and selfish. We only thinking about our own goals and objectives, and we're neglecting those that we brought into this world. At some point, that has to stop. Because if it doesn't stop, if we continue this pattern of neglect, intentional or unintentional, and I will have to admit, a lot of young men and women are being brought, especially from our community, is being brought into this world with the knowledge on what to do. If you don't have self-control as a man, I don't care. That whole alpha, I got all this other stuff, doesn't matter. Because soon as it hits the fan, you're going to shrink and fold like you're a little child again. Because why? As long as things is going good, oh, you that dude. But soon as things goes bad, oh, then what happens? Because why? You didn't have the right type of male figures in your life to show you what it is to get it from the ground up. Not just building a career, not just building a business, but what about your family? That's the foundations of society. Anyway, until the next time, reset.